Hi everyone, good morning. Dear honorable guests, Professor Oliver Turnbull, Professor Yitzhak Fried, Professor Yoram Yuvel, Dr. Tzvi Fischel, Dr. Nava Levit Binun, and all of you, my honorable friends from the Israeli Forum of Neuropsychoanalysis, members of the committee, that without their work and time invested in bringing up this meeting, we would not be here. So please stand up, committee members. Please do, just that everyone will see you. Starting with Tali Levi, the head of our child development group. Tali Maron, a doctorate student in neuropsychoanalysis, who is going to present later her research. The granddaughter of Professor Dov Aleksandrovich, who is also a founder member of the society. Gilad Kaplan. Hadass Mor-Ofek, who will soon present. She is a fruitful researcher and lecturer who is working with Stefan Porges on his polyvagal theory. She is responsible for her website we are uploading. Rafi Lavi and Michelle Spector, who are responsible for all the pyrotechnical presentations here. And the oldest central members, Kobi Tiberg, where are you? Who was responsible for the presentation, and Iftach Biran, a neurobehaviorist, psychiatrist, and a candidate in the Institute of Psychoanalysis, who is also there to work and consult. You and all the other members, whom I will not mention by names, yet you know how much I appreciate your contribution, all other members of the forum. We received enormous help from the Histadrut of Psychologists and their CEO, Danny Kafri, who is for being so efficient and funny. I'm happy to see here people who dared, who were interested and curious to look into material that sometimes might scare you. Other times will take you to new places and might change and improve your way of working. It needs courage to come to think in a new mode, which I will shortly explain. I am happy to be among so many curious and courageous people. Let me take a moment before we begin this interesting day to memorize Professor Jaak Panksepp, who was professor of veterinary of Washington State University and recently passed away, yet was here in our last meeting. He was the head of research unit of affective neuroscience at the Fox Center of Molecular Treatment at Northwestern University. He brought us the evidence of the emotional life of animals. His remarkable evidence from his lifelong research is helping us with the building blocks for psychoanalytic understanding of the process and emotions within the human mind. He was holding the post with Professor Mark Soames of the presidency of the International Neuropsychoanalytic Society. He will always be remembered and loved. I already deeply miss him. And why is it that I speak about your courage? What are we going to do today? Sometimes the obstacle can be that this day is held in English, which is not your native language, at least for most of us. Yet we all speak English quite well. Otherwise, you would not even enter the room. But again, it is the glossary. We are coming from different fields. When we meet here, neurologists, psychologists, psychiatrists, art therapists, and psychotherapists, we all use the same language, meaning different concepts and different meanings. Names that seem recognized get shifts to other places we haven't thought of. We use the same words for different things. So here, in the in-between of the different languages, in the Winnicottian transitional space, the place where neuropsychoanalytic work, we may say we are always in this space, very truly. I will agree. But it will help if you keep in mind that we made a new profession out of it. Here is the place for a new profession in between the different schools, disciplines. When we ask, what do you mean by X? The negotiation and the repetitions, the imitation of one another, and the creations in the theories we were holding, we reflect repeatedly on those theories and on the theory that comes from the practice. We reflect our professional acts, behavior, practiced in the clinic. There enters a new theory, the reflective practitioner theory, known to us from Donald John, brought here with Professor Yona Rosenfeld, my dear mentor and friend. There is a new language coming up, complex hermeneutics, surprising, uniting brain, body, and mind. Integrative words, systems, the abstract and the concrete comes together, creating a new glossary. And we work it back to Freud, who undoubtedly was a genius. As we see it from recent research findings, we are amazed to find his acknowledgement of those findings among his neurological papers. We listen to the space between what we hear, what we create, how we picture what we see, the language heard, spoken, written, and how is it created spontaneously from within, how it transforms into a concept. The last sentence I heard Jack saying before he left Chicago on the reflection part of our conference in Chicago last year was that words touch. They physically touch our ears, as sights touch our eyes. How movement and chemistry make it a concert in our brain. Therefore, if they touch us in such a powerful way, we must accept that what is around us, the context, is making a lot of difference. Therefore, when Jack invited us to a course in the Caribbean side of Mexico, he said how important the environment is. Therefore, in his memory, we started the day and we'll end it with those two songs chosen for you by Iftach and myself. They speak about the contents of today's meeting. Looking around us, we see what else is here in the context. The beautiful Eretz Israel Museum, Trump visit, and the Looking for Peace movement. We all pray for peace. Who are we? I founded this group here in Israel at the same time it was founded in the world. Others joined the mission. Mark Solms founded the society in 2000. We were looking enthusiastically to the first meeting in London, and all the rest is history. We paved the road for the last 18 years passionately, started with 15 members in the first year, growing up to 70 members, with small groups and large groups. With 20 very active members, we work systematically on many different subjects, memory, self-monitoring, regulation of affect, etc. We read together and discuss. We are in the structure of a learning organization, and we welcome professionals from different fields who are interested and passionate. You will be able to hear today research work inspired by our studies. 7 members will present here today their work. You will hear Professor Turnbull, who is a respected and central member of our society, who will speak of neuroscience, of psychotherapy, happiness, and the mind. Professor Fried granted us, with his numinous presentation, Neuron as Will and Representation in a direct recording from the human brain, and Yoram Yovel, who all of you know and cherish, who will speak about the newest research finding from object loss to opioid, ultra-low dose, let me see if I manage that, buprenorphine, and suicidality. We will have in midday and at the end of the day time for discussion, so please keep your questions for those times. Tomorrow you will be able to join us for a meeting with Professor Turnbull, where we will reflect about the conference and raise new questions for research. It will take place in Ichilov Hospital, in the lecture room of the neurological department. There is limited number of seats. The space is not too big, so hurry to register in the intermission. The discussion will be held in English from 9 to 12 in the morning. את השקף. אתה יכול לעבור על השקף הבא? Freud said that words are made of fragments, of movement, images. And as Alva Noé says, perception is activity. It is not the clear picture we might believe we all see. The concept is created in the concept we created is the thing we believe is there, and there is that magnificent fact that one explains something to another person, and they both react with the same locations in their brain. So that what we do is to activate the same brain networks, both of the speaker and the listener. All those called concepts will be understood and later will be introjected and elaborated within our analytic theory. We, with our hermeneutic, dialogic, coping, and research capabilities and ways of thinking, will give it new names which will fit our time and space, which will enlarge what he already seen, he who was ahead of his time, and we who are ahead of our time, trying to understand and do not understand well enough. So we paved the way for the last 18 years. No word is obviously understood. No concept is taken for granted. Words and concepts might shut the meaning while we try to open to new understandings. For example, a reflex isn't just an evolutionary concept. It is a neuronal state of the brain. It has volition in it, and it reacts to the environment. We find new meaning in all concepts. We usually say we are not hospitalized in our theories, to cite Jona Rosenfeld. Therefore, when you listen to the new glossary and to what was researched, please do not expect yourself to understand what that is said, all that is said. We are building repeatedly new conceptualization that propose new integrations for body, movement, and psyche and mind. We try to free ourselves from all concepts, from prejudice, and to draw new lines while reflecting upon the concept. This is the way to pave the road for new theories, new research proposals, new papers, and finally to the application in the clinic. This is the essence, at least for myself, of neuropsychoanalysis. Thank you.